Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Shapes 2 video. Can we just take a short moment to appreciate this excellent soundtrack of Shapes 2? Oh yeah, very groovy. My hat goes off to the composer, or composers. Let's continue on with our hexagonal playthrough. I believe we are now up to the stage where we're unlocking module 3 and jumping into module 4 that consists of painting. So we'll get our hands dirty in this video, having a look at the different shapes required for, I keep saying module, but I think it's really milestone 4. And as we do that, we can just let these other two side tasks continue to funnel in. We've already completed that in our last video. We're just waiting for that to finalize. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the side tasks we're up to. So we're just finalizing these two, number 10 and 11, and we'll either be working in these in this or the next video. But for now, we'll unlock milestone 3, which includes all of this lovely fluid related items and platforms. Okay, for those of you unfamiliar with this mechanic, we're now able to mine particular colors, or pump them should we say, and then use this painter building to color the shape, that particular color. And it doesn't matter what color the shape was originally. This could be a blue circle. That red is going to override it. Unlocked some new tasks and some new items and a couple of new upgrades too. So we'll be able to pump fluids similar to how we mine our shapes, using those extenders the same way, using pipes similar to belts. Ah yes, that's also helpful. The painter only paints the topmost shape of any given shape. And they even have a colorblind option. Okay. Now, the first couple of shapes that they're after is a very simple blue hexagonal triangle one and the teardrop grey, which I believe we've effectively already got. So why don't we just start with that, and to stop that from highlighting at us. We'll also unlock this one here. Bonk. So we no longer need this belt, or really any of that. Now, is it worth deleting it all now? I think so. There's nothing that really stands out to me that where we'll need either of those shapes in the near future. So we want to keep this alive, but that is coming from the top here and all the left section. And get rid of these. And yeah, we'll just get rid of that too. And just clear up our workspace a bit. Get rid of anything we're not currently using. Now, as we said previously, the grey teardrops. We're already creating that, but we are unnecessarily stacking it on top of each other at the moment. So, to fix that, what can we do here? This is coming out with 2 lanes on the right, on the bottom, and what we want to do is simply make these 2 lanes come out on the left too instead, which is different to how they were currently being outputted on that second level. So we'll just cut and replace, so they'll still join up, but now we'll have all 4 on the bottom level, and instead of then stacking them, we're going to simply continue to route these all the way back to our hub. Actually, yeah, looks good. Now that we've unlocked that next milestone, we now have access to space pipes. And these are very handy little things. So this acts similar to a belt launcher, in the sense that it allows you to skip past belts that are otherwise in the way. So I'm just selecting number 2 here and then pressing tab, and they can currently go up to, what's that? Count that as 1. Should we say 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can skip past 4 separate lines. Huh, that automatically does that. Okay. We can go lower? Really? Now I'm confused. Well, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, safely 4. I'm not sure about that last one. I don't know what's exactly going on there. No, leave it. Nope. That's the space belts. Those belts are coming through here. Can we still see them visually? No. Does not look like that's the case. Aha. I think I know what I've done wrong. Some of you probably already worked this out. That's a fluid space pipe. I'm not using that correctly. It's actually number 1, the space belt, and then press tab, and you've got the underground belt here. That's what we're after. My mistake, guys, sorry. The second one is space pipes. So I potentially would have had access to this all along, I'm not actually sure. In any case, we have it now. It's working well. And we simply need to connect up these other 2 lines. We can start delivering this first shape. Looks like we've completed our surprise signal now. It's fantastic. We'll unlock that. And do we need any of these in the near future? Not with those colours at least. Except... yeah, no. Okay. I feel relatively safe just deleting all of this then. not that. Keep that over there. But all of these we can get rid of. And all of that too. There we go, it's nice and clean. Beautiful. So we've got that simple shape, teardrop shape, coming along nicely. We'll now also move on to this triangular hexagonal piece. So same deal over here. Instead of putting these up on the second level, we'll put them on the far right too, whereas these are on the far left, and we will not be stacking them. We'll simply send them straight on through. And this is now where it starts getting a little bit different. So we're now moving on to number 4, the fluid miner. We'll throw that down here, and these work very similarly to the shape miner. Also use the extensions and just connect those up here like so. And now that extractor is not... okay, Shift 2 gives us the fluid pumps. Now we are pumping blue paint. So it's important to keep track of which belt you're using. They do have visual indicators. So the liquid one is blue sort of color to it. Where's the belts here? White and grey. We'll press 2 for the space pipes and connect these up here. Now, although we can simply set up a platform here and make ourselves a painting platform, I do prefer, and especially when I'm designing a new platform, to have the shapes come in from above and the fluid from the left. So I might do some slight alterations here. I go like so, press C, bring that around, and then press C again to select the pipe. Come around here. Oh, now that's beautiful. I think this is a more recent change, but they've made it so that it now automatically switches to an underground pipe when it detects that there's a obstacle in the road. Now that's very nice, well designed, very grateful for that quality of life feature. So it looks a bit messy here, but that now means that we're designing with north facing up, the shapes coming from the top and the paint from the left. Now we're in the fluid buildings rather than the normal shape buildings. So that's Shift F2. We're just clicking down here on this icon and we're looking for the painter. You can flip it here on the left. Let me get my bearings here. I haven't used this in a while. What we might go ahead and do is use a double platform here. That way we'll have plenty of room to work with. Four painters. Might even bring these down one. because we want to be using all 4 lines here. So we'll connect these up. And then we'll need to bring them down once more. That way we have room to get rid of these other belts to the right. And then for the pipes, that doesn't work, does it? Okay. That's an easy fix. You're not able to turn a corner and also go up at the same time. See, it won't let you. We've now disconnected that pipe. So we have to do one step at a time. We can turn and then we can go up. Sort of. Like that. Okay, so that simply means we can go up along here. And then from this back pipe position, we can bring it out, using the right tool of course. Bring it out and down. And just do that 4 times so each of the painters are connected. That should work nicely. And connect up that first shape and that first. Not the receiver, not the thrower. There we go. We've got our shapes being painted. Wonderful. Now, apologies for anyone who is following along step by step, because I'm going to end up copying and pasting all of this across one to the right, which I suppose if you are... Oh, no, wait. All of that, and that, and that, and that. Yeah, okay. And that'll become apparent why I did that in just a second. Connect those up. Hide the top layer. Okay. So the reason why I want to do that is because I want that bottom painted to connect up to that, I think. Which means all of these others can come along here and follow those other shape belts. Like so. We can now combine that first one and send that right on through. So we've made ourselves a mini factory that does one belt and one pipe. Like so. And we've also got our other inputs coming along here. Now we're just going to go ahead and copy that. And paste it 2 more times. And unfortunately that last one is going to be a bit of an awkward placement, and we can still make it work. Okay, now we just need to connect up the inputs and connect up the outputs. And I'll get back to you guys in a second. And there we have it. So everything's now connected up. We can just get rid of any excess. Like so. Ooh. Don't need any of that. Or any of this down here. Just quick cleaning it up a little bit. We've got all 4 lanes filtering in, being painted, and then coming back out here. Now I know that there are more efficient designs with that, but that's a very simple painting island. Okay, and with that, that's our next shape in the milestone completed. So you can simply funnel that back through. Into our vortex here. Just double check. See, that's important. I'm glad we did check it. We can simply use that actually. So why don't we do that? Get rid of all of that. And you can just funnel it into the right hand side here. So that's already set up. I know we're not using these at the moment, but I would still like to connect up properly and just remove all of those, make it nice and neat. Might as well do the same over here. Let me pause. There we go, that's just a little bit neater. Now just using north, south, east and west inputs at the moment. Okay, next on our agenda is, now that we've completed all the greys, now we want to paint them red. Now we've just been over this, and we've just built ourselves a 4 belt painter, which we should save in our blueprint, so let's do that now. Beautiful. And we can simply paste this. Let's go right here. So we'll get the shapes. And that is no longer necessary. Funnel it straight in the top there, because that's where our shapes go. We need to make sure that this is also coming in, being the right 2 of the belt and the left 2. So we no longer need those, but we will need an output. Now on the left here is our paint. So we need to grab this and simply connect it up to the red. Pressing C. Interesting. That did not work for us. I wonder why. Interesting. It may not have worked since I used the... C? No. Curious. I'm not actually sure. In any case, it's working now. We've got the red paint coming in. Should be painting those shapes there. Perfect. And that's funneling straight in, like so. Those should come in soon, I think. Perfect. We've got 2 shapes going at once. I'm not using that, let's get rid of that. And let's have a look at our next. So, after those blue, we're also looking for green triangle hexagon. Little star, part of a star-shaped hexagon. Anyway. Where do we get those from? Right here. Same deal as the previous 2. What we could do is copy that and move that and paste it, rather than having to do that again. It's now going to all be at the same level. We don't need to stack it anymore, so we'll move that too. clear that belt. And looking for green paint, which is all the way over here. Put down some paint miners and send it our way. Copy that painter again. Just keeping the same input orientation there. Oop. Beautiful. Let's have a quick look at this output. It's not going to show yet. I wonder why. If I break it here, will it show me? Not yet. Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. We might as well continue on that production line because we don't actually just want to deliver that shape. We want to stack that shape onto the blue, which means that's going to need to go on top. Ooh. So that's going to place it onto the second level. And then we can add a stacker. After we get rid of that belt. No, not the right rotation. Apologies. There we go. These shapes are effectively done. We can get rid of that and throw that straight into here. Okay, cool. That green is finally coming through now. See the pipes light up. Beautiful. So I'll move on to the second level and come through here and stack on top of that shape, creating this one. And then dip it straight back into the vortex. And we see those other two lines have filled out now. It looks like our final shape is simply putting those red teardrops on top of that. Which we can do relatively easily if we bring these around like so and put them into another stacker. Actually, they'll need to be a little bit further. So they'll come in here, and the stacker will go in here. But before that happens, we need to finish delivering that shape. It could even happen back up here now, before they go in. But we definitely don't want to add the stacker in until this shape is complete. So we'll let that run for a while. And then once these are both completed, we can add that stacker in to finish off Milestone 4. There we have it. Let's take a quick look at maybe one or two of these side tasks while we wait for Milestone 4 to complete. So we've got quite a lot of research points now. What would be most effective? Is our painting currently holding us back? Let's have a quick look. No, I don't think it is. There's a smooth belt at a comfortable 120. And the input's at the 120 as well. Just had a quick look at the potential upgrades, and I don't really feel the need for any of these just yet. So I'm happy to go ahead and just leave these be. And we'll jump into number 12, Toxic Bloom. So we're looking for green triangles, which we'll probably need to make ourselves, as well as some red star triangles. I'm just going to go with Star Trek. Star Trek, red triangles, and some more green. So it looks like the end result will need an equal number of Star Trek red to green triangles. 6 of each. Yep, 6 of each. But to begin with, just the half shape here. So we can simply use this island here. It doesn't matter that they are already colored, because we can recolor them without any issue or overlap. So we'll need a second set of green fluid miner, and we'll grab ourselves 4 belts. Why did that not work? That's strange. So, what? Guess it didn't copy properly. Okay. Here we go. We'll drag that through. And drag this down. Block this pointer just here. So we should then end up with a fully green version of that. Now that square glue is certainly unnecessary. So let's not overcomplicate things. I'd still like to bring it in line with that though. And we'll simply need a half destroyer. So that we're only delivering half of the green shape. And it gets slotted in straight away. Now we've finished delivering the red portion of the milestone, so we can sever that output and have it all funnel into the stacker that we'll put in just a moment. Excellent, we've got our green paint finally coming down from the island. And that'll soon be thrown in here. Okay, just been doing a little bit of thinking. In the meantime, we've finished that fourth shape, which means we can now connect this up and add that stacker in. So we'll cut here, cut and paste, and then that should just continue on. And going back to toxic blooming, I don't really want to continue using the half destroyer because that's going to leave us with very little of the shape left, and we still need a considerable amount of the others. So instead, I may soon opt for the cutter instead, and then we can make better use of the shape. So let's work on that. But we'll work on it here because there's more space currently and we're in the correct orientation, and then we can just copy and paste that design and rotate it and throw it in. Okay, so I've opted for a double platform here, and what we're doing is we're using the cutter tool. We're cutting the shape up and then rotating the right hand side back to the left, and then doing that 4 times, and you're going to end up with 2 full belts from 1 full belt of a full shape, and then from there we can route down into the outputs. You want to do this 4 times. So once more here, which will connect up to this belt. And that'll take care of this whole section. And then we can do that again, except this time we'll have the 180-degree rotators on the right hand side of each of these cutters instead. I'll just connect all this up off camera. There we go. So we've got 4 belts of the left hand side and 4 belts of the right hand side. And I'll just connect these to the outputs here, like so. We'll zoom out and add 2 belts, and then we should see this shape now producing both the left and the right hand side variant. And we can add that to our blueprint repertoire. And that's what we'll be calling it, cutter left and right output, saving in platforms. We can unlock that first one and work on the single triangle. Now in the future, that's probably going to be useful at some point, but I'd actually prefer both of these outputs to be on the same side, so I'll make some small alterations here so that all 8 of these output belts are going to be on the left. It's simply a matter of removing that, copying this and replacing. And then we can save that similarly, named like so, left and left output. now that we've created that, we can remove this. Turn this around. Get rid of that half destroyer. And instead replace it with our cutters. So now we have 2 lanes of half the shape. And we can use the rotators, and like the clockwise rotator. And again, if you put it in the north orientation, you'll be able to see what we're doing a bit better. So rotating both of these lanes clockwise, 120 degrees. Which will then leave us with the shape like so. And I've miscalculated that. We don't want 120, we simply want 60 degrees. So let's can these 2 cutters and look at this 60 degrees clockwise rotator and throw them in. Get rid of that backlog. Now we see all we need to add to each of these lines is a simple half destroyer. And that'll leave us with just 1 green triangle. One of which can be routed straight into the left, and the other can make use of this top routing angle. So we're now delivering it twice the efficiency because we bothered to make this cutter. Now obviously we could further improve this by not using the half destroyer and getting rid of 2/3 of that shape, but I'm happy with the double throughput for now. Beautiful. Aha! I guess something has gone amiss here. And that's because we've neglected, I thought we did this already, but perhaps not. We've neglected to add this to the second level. So it's both trying to input these onto the first. You can see here they're mismatched. It's my mistake. Let's get the converter. Throw that in, and then we'll select this and press I to remove all the current shapes. And we see now that's still not quite right. Get rid of that as well. Sneaky ones here. And now all of the bottom shape should be that one. And the top shape should be red. There we go. That's why it's important to check over your previous designs in case you've missed anything. There we go. Now that's better. Now this is going along very speedily. It's fantastic. Yeah, I think we can safely split this up and make it into 2 factories. Like so. Turn it back in the north orientation. Unlock this So we want one to stay where it's at, one 120 degrees, and one 120 counterclockwise. So we'll put the top the same, clockwise in the middle, and the counterclockwise on the bottom. We'll add the metal to the second level before combining it back into a stacker. Throw that back in, throw this in here, and then we'll do the same thing down the line just a little bit further. So another stacker. Another increase in level. And throw that in again. So we see we're now making 2/3 of that shape. And that's coming along to another stacker island, where that last third in the right orientation and at the right level will combine to create this shape. And because we have 2 lanes of this split into 6, we can copy all of that like so, get rid of this, and double it up. Just like that, it's that easy. And that'll speed along very quickly. And in the meantime, let's have a look at this red shape here. And simply pull from this island, this shape island, and pull from this paint to create that red shape. It's fairly simple. Nope. We are indeed here. Let me go ahead and do that. Because this is so straightforward, I might go ahead and do this off camera and just show you guys the finished result. Now here's what we've built. Just this line up here with the shapes connected to the red paint here into a painter island. And that should be reducing that top red shape here. I'll just check on these. They seem to be coming along nicely. And once this is done, we might end up moving all of this back to the left a little bit, so we have some room to combine this red shape on top of the green. But I won't do that just yet, because I don't want to have to wait any longer than necessary for this shape to complete. But what we can do is get this into position a little more. Alrighty, it looks like we've gone ahead and completed those green shapes. So let's throw this factory back a little so we have a bit more space. Add something. and connect these back up. Now we'll unlock that. And what we want to do is simply add that red shape onto our green. And I believe we were not creating fully saturated belts with this, so feel comfortable combining the two outputs here into a single one. We want this on top, so let's add a converter before combining the two belts together and adding a final stacker. Now obviously we have to wait for this to come through all again. And while we wait for that, we can add the final piece. Just going ahead and adding an extra step here to put these 3 green triangles on top of that last shape that we'll be making. So we'll have a converter down here, in fact, one across, and then it'll add back up again until our final stacker goes in this place here. But that's not until this shape is finished. So we'll remove that, combine up to here, and combine it back, like so. So that should be effectively complete now. And rather than making this video too long by starting on a second side task, I'll just let this one play out and at least start the last shape as a finished product. We'll let this accumulate first. It's doing so quite slowly at the moment, but it should speed up fairly soon. That's one coming through. On second thought, for those of you following along, I don't want you guys having to wait a large amount of time for your side tasks to complete either. So in light of that, I might go ahead and redesign this portion of the factory so that instead of cutting off 2/3 of the shape here and just deleting it straight away, we can make better use of this so we can have more throughput with our little triangle shapes. So while we let this run, let's jump back down here and do some more recreation. We'll offshoot here just so we can be working in the north orientation initially. So this will both have the left half of the shape come out. And we want to do the same thing again, but first we'll need to rotate. So let's do that first. A simple 60-degree clockwise rotation will work before a second cutter. Grab that and throw those in again and wait for the result. And unfortunately, it's not going to be that easy, because if you input an uneven shape into this simple cutter, it's going to end up giving you mixed match results, as we can see here. So let's scratch that. While we've been starting to work on this, we've finished that next shape. We'll go ahead and unlock that. And we'll go back to our original factory and just remove these two lines, and instead route this half of the factory down here. That would then make the top portion of this shape, where we can keep the other 50% of the factory on the bottom portion here. And of course we still need to add that stacker. So we'll remove that line, cut and paste that stacker in, and we should start producing that final result. But in the meantime, let's work on this problem. I've just realized that that top shape is probably going to need to be rotated too, because that is currently not working for us. You see here, it's been rotated 60 degrees in either direction from that first one. So let's go ahead and do that before we stack it back on top. That's a simple fix. The clockwise rotated right here. Throw that in, and that should be done. Now back to our other factory. So I've gone ahead and put a 2-tile platform down, and I've just copied the very first portion of this cutter, and I'm going to place that down here like so. But as we can see here, we end up with different results. So what I'd like to do, in this maybe a bit cheeky, I'm going to do it like this. I prefer to do it in a different orientation. So that rather than have it in that half of the shape, I prefer to have it rotated clockwise once more. So that is currently 90 degrees, or should I say 60. So I prefer this to be 120. So let's replace that and clear these. Yep, that's looking better. So on the left hand side, I'd like a single triangle on the top left, and then on the right output I can have the other ones. Which means we'll probably need to make use of the second level here, but that's okay. Let me work that out, and I'll get back to you guys in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and route the right hand side of all of these back into the left output of this platform. And we'll route the left hand side up into the right of this output platform. So we'll just do the first one here, and then we can copy and paste it across. So we just got that first little bit of routing done here. We can copy and paste all the way along, and then finish up these end bits. There we go. And now we have all the single triangles on the left and the double triangles on the right. And if we then rotate these counterclockwise once more, we can do the same thing. So we just need a 60 degrees counterclockwise rotator, and then just add that cutter back in again. Oop, getting quite close to that now. Oh, a silly simple mistake. Even though I've used the second level to jump over the belts on the first, I've forgotten to take them back down onto the first. So I can do that here. Get rid of that. Bring them down, like so, so that they line up with this platform. Okay, so now as you can see from these 3 lanes, we started with one full shape, and we've then broken that down into each of its individual shapes. So that's 3 of 6, and we could simply do the same thing by copying and pasting this over here and bringing that across, and then it would have all 6. Now that is a little bit annoying here. I wonder if we can reroute that temporarily. I'm sure that we could. Do we need that anymore? I mean, that is feeding this at the moment, so kind of. Let's see. If I take that and cut it, put it over here instead, and just route that like so, that should work just fine. So we can make these all into the same orientation if you wanted to, by using yet another rotator. And now I've just built a bit of a mega factory that takes one whole shape and breaks it down to its 6 individual components and rotates them all into the same top left orientation. Oop, it's the wrong way around, and so is this. There we have it. I've somehow been able to manage to copy the wrong cutting tool somehow. Maybe I copied that before I changed it. But here, let me get the right one, the right output, and change these to match. There we go. Now we should get those last 2 coming through. And I should also save this particular cutter as its own blueprint. Cutter, left and right. Uneven shape. There we go. So we now have 6 separate lanes with each individual piece of that shape now cut up individually and separated. And from there, of course, we can simply do what we did up here with our 6 different lanes. We can copy all of that and use it in the same manner, except we'll now have a much higher throughput. But that took us so long to complete. We've now almost finished that side task already. But it was a nice little project, and we can certainly use that in the future to speed up our others. And I kind of like having these spare lines in place, just so we can visually see what is coming or should be coming through. Now, why has that stopped? Alright, because these are going nowhere. They're not actually being trashed. But that's fine, that's not a flaw. They're just not being used, so everything's backed up now. What we can do is select this whole thing and save this as a blueprint. So cutter, pull to what's the word for cutting into 6? I'll just put in 6 pieces. Sure, we'll be able to use that in the future. Oh, nope, not that one. There we go. And wouldn't you know, we've also finished with that shape. Perfect. Let's unlock that, get more research points, and we'll end the video there. Next video, we're likely going to try for at least a couple, maybe even 3 of these side projects before jumping into the next milestone. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed following along and building along with me these hexagonal side tasks. I hope you have a blessed week. Bye for now.